translation. Yes, Bill.
A very good afternoon once again. I come to you, Uganda, and to the viewers of the best name in television, Channel 44. In today's local updates, we shall begin with the reason why we're all seated at home, the day of Archbishop Jonah Luwum. We are here to tell you the follow-up of his life, and this is how it begins. The life of Jonah Luwum is in 1949. He studied at Buwalasi in Mbale. In 1950, became a catechist and was attached to St. Philip Church in Gulu. 1955, ordained a deacon, and then 1966, went for the theological training at London College of Divinity. 1967, principal of his alma mater, Buwalasi Theological College. And then 1966, he was made provincial secretary of the Church of Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and Bongo Zaire. 1967, consecrated a bishop of the Diocese of Northern Uganda. And in 1975, Archbishop of Uganda, Rwanda, and Bongo Zaire. President Idi Amin accused the Archbishop of supporting former President Apollo Milton Obote. And then Luwum condemned the casual killings in a radio address on the December 25th, 1976, a Christmas time of that time. Condemned the casual killing of citizens, and the bishop issued a clergy letters to the President Idi Amin protesting for their killings and explained disappearances of the individuals. February 5th, 1977, that night at the home of the Archbishop, Jonah Luwum was rushed to Mengo and from the attack of his home. And then on 16th February 1977, the Archbishop was arrested with other ministers. That was the last time he appeared in public. February 17th, killed in an accident alongside the ministers. To the end of this story, February 22nd, a memorial service was held at Roma Catembri Cathedral. That was the end, and that is why we are celebrating his life today. In other news, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has received credentials from accredited Uganda envoys from France, Egypt, Iran, the Republic of South Sudan, Turkey, and Equatorial Guinea, and the Sahel Republic. The restricted ceremonies took place at State House, Entebbe, on Tuesday, and the different envoys expressed their appreciation for the hospitable welcome, and they felt at home, they say. Welcoming the new envoys, Museveni thanked the French government for training the Mountain Brigade of the Uganda People's Defense Forces. He said, "You added value to our mountain force." According to the press from State House, the president also expressed interest in having a dialogue with member countries of the European Union to streamline the bilateral relationship that should be basis of the partnership and mutual interest, not master-puppet relationships. In the release, the president also received credentials from the new ambassador of the Arab Republic of Egypt, Monza Fathi Abdel Aziz, who was in the country with his wife, Angie Ramadan, who State House sources say appreciated the beauty of the climate in Uganda appreciated the leadership of Egypt to visit Uganda, and especially the source of the Nile. And Mr. Museveni added that ever since the days of pharaohs, no leader has ever visited the source of the Nile since then, and asked them to visit these places. To the Turkey envoy, Mehmet Fatih Eke, President Museveni conveyed his heartfelt condolences for the President of Turkey and the people of Turkey. I am sorry about the earthquakes. It's terrible. Convey my sympathy to the President. I wrote to him, Museveni says in that report. And let's have our international updates in news brief by Mercy Sembatia.
Thank you, Bill. In our international news update, the angry protests have broken out in some parts of Nigeria, towns and cities as people struggle to get hold of new banknotes. Frustration began building for weeks after a shortage of newly designed Naira notes led to a lack of cash. Some customers in the southern Nigeria's Warri and Benin City reportedly set fire to two commercial banks. Nigerians have faced long queues at cash machines, with some sleeping outside banks to try and be first in line to get some money. People say they have been forced to skip meals and work without cash to pay for food or transport to their jobs. Some banks were broken into while protesters looted their cash machines. In Benin City, customers attempted to invade the Central Bank of Nigeria's local offices, but security officers fired tear gas at them. The Central Bank of Nigeria said it redesigned the higher denomination note, 200, 500 and 1,000 naira, to replace the dirty cash in circulation, tackle inflation, curb counterfeiting, and promote a cashless society. In Cameroon, an enormous plume of dust from the Sahara Desert threatens to sweep through half of the Cameroon, according to the transport minister. If the forecast wind conditions are maintained, the dust could cause road accidents due to reduced visibility, according to the minister. The dust could also cause respiratory diseases, and the plume of dust is currently crossing Cameroon's far north and could reach 4 other regions in the coming days. The minister has urged people to drive carefully and protect their eyes and noses appropriately. Each year, Cameroon experiences dust storms from the Sahara that cross the country from north to south. In the United States, anxious residents are still demanding answers 12 days after a train carrying toxic chemicals derailed in the small Ohio town of East Palestine. Fires sprang up from the accident, panicking residents who live just blocks away ran for their lives. Days later, a toxic pillar of smoke towered over the town as officials burned off a dangerous chemical known as vinyl chloride before it could explode. The first search of a new first Prime Minister of Scotland has begun after Nicola Sturgeon's surprise decision to stand down. The SNP leader made the announcement yesterday after more than 8 years in the job, and she plans to remain in office until her successor is elected. The SNP's National Executive Committee will meet this evening to draw up a timetable for a leadership race. With no obvious successor, the party's first leadership contest in nearly 20 years could see a debate on future direction and strategy. In the United States, the FBI has conducted 2 searches within the last month at the University of Delaware to check if the U.S. President Joe Biden donated papers that could have been classified. Investigators retrieved multiple boxes from the college on 2 different days, according to the press. The university, Mr. Biden's alma mater, houses thousands of boxes of files related to his time in the Senate. Donald Trump faces a criminal inquiry over his handling of classified files. Documents marked classified have been found in recent months at Mr. Biden's home in Delaware and offices that he used in Washington, D.C. The FBI recovered some of the files during a search of his private residence at Wilmington last month. In Asia, crowds of retirees in China have again taken to the streets to protest against cuts to their medical benefits. They gathered yesterday for a second time in Wuhan, where COVID was first detected, and also in the northeastern city of Dalian. The second round of protests in 7 days puts pressure on President Xi Jinping's administration just weeks before the annual National People's Congress, which will usher in a new leadership team. Protests first took place in Wuhan on the 8th of February after provincial authorities said they were cutting the level of medical expenses which retirees can claim back from government. Social media footage shows the protesters to be largely elderly retirees who say this comes at a time of soaring healthcare costs. The president of World Bank will step down from his post in June, leaving the organization almost a year before his term was due to end. David Malpass announced his decision on social media without providing a specific reason for his departure. The peak of former U.S. President Donald Trump, he has been criticized as a climate change denier. Last year, the White House rebuked him after he said he did not know if fossil fuels were driving climate change. He later apologized for the remarks. Antarctica glaciers may be more sensitive to changes in sea temperature than was thought, according to a new research. The British Antarctica Survey and the U.S. Antarctic Program put sensors and an underwater robot beneath the vast Thwaites Glacier to study melting. The size of Britain, Thwaites is one of the world's fastest changing glaciers. Its susceptibility to climate change is a major concern to scientists because if it melted completely, it would raise global sea levels by half a meter. The new research suggests that even low amounts of melting can potentially push a glacier further along the path towards eventual disappearance. One person has been killed and 3 injured in a shooting at a shopping center in El Paso, Texas. Police said 2 suspects are in custody and one was tackled at the scene by an off-duty officer. The incident happened yesterday at Cielo Visitor Mall. It is located at near Walmart supermarket where 23 people were killed in a racist attack in 2019 and the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history. Well, that brings us to the end of this afternoon's news in brief. Thank you for watching Channel 44. Pastor Jessica Kayanja is coming up next with the lunch hour program as she continues to teach us about the different body parts that are spiritual yet physical. God bless you and enjoy your afternoon.